The Mets also flashed the leather, playing superb defense in the victory over the Blue Jays, and Joe McEwing did his thing in the 6-2 win. Steve Trachsel hopes to keep the Mets on their post-All-Star game roll. He goes for the win next. On the pace they've established after the All-Star break, maybe they can move up to the penthouse. They've won 3 out of 4. Tonight they look for another victory as they take on the Toronto Blue Jays here at Shea Stadium in the middle game of this 3-game series. Hi everybody, I'm Matt Loughlin. Thanks for joining.
The horticultural report is brought to you by nobody in particular, but with all the beautiful sunshine we've been having, the tomatoes will soon be ripening here at Shea Stadium in the bullpen garden. So those of you following along or betting in Las Vegas on when the first one turns red. All right, let's take a look at the lineup. First of all, for the Toronto Blue Jays, a couple of changes here. Shannon Stewart will be leading it off. Jose Cruz Jr., Raul Mondesi, Brad Fulmer. The normal DH is in at first base. Luis Lopez, Alex Gonzalez, Alberto Castillo, the former Met catching. Cesar Iturris, second baseman, a rookie and a good one. And Roy Halladay doing the pitching.
And Steve Trachsel, the pitcher for the Mets, an ERA of 6.72. He's done much better since coming back from that stint in the minor leagues. Has a record of 2-10. Only 3 Mets pitchers have had 10 losses after 14 game starts in the history of the Mets. Greg Anderson, Al Jackson, and Pete Jurek. But Steve trying to come back from what was a good career after a very poor start for the Mets. 15 home runs allowed.
And this is a home run hitting team that he faces tonight in the Toronto Blue Jays. Sun just going down beyond the top of the stadium over on the left field side. No sun on the field at all. Not a factor to start this game. Mets trying to make it 3 in a row tonight. They are 8-8 now in interleague play this year. Leadoff batter Shannon Stewart, who went 1 for 4 in the opener of this 3-game set that started yesterday. Great to have you with us here at Shea tonight. Just another magnificent evening. We've had just the best of weather here for the New York Mets during this homestand. And Steve Trachsel's underway. Check swing, but he went around on that one.
Trachsel has speeded up his delivery with men not on base. Remember the word not. He slows down with men on base, but has worked much quicker when he's pitching to a batter with nobody on.
Shannon Stewart, leadoff batter, good speed. Takes the pitch away. Trachsel's had only the 2 wins on April 30 against Houston and on June 29 against Atlanta. Probably his finest outing, a 3-1 win in which he went 7 innings. He's coming off a 2 2/3 outing against the Chicago Cubs in which he gave up 7 runs on 7 hits in 2 2/3 innings. 1-2 count on Stewart.
Mets in July with their pitching staff having an earned run average of 2.76. That's second in the major leagues, second to the Oakland A's. So their pitching has been good in the month of July.
Been outstanding. Really, that's what's made the difference and has allowed the Mets to put some wins together here after the All-Star break, but not gaining much ground. Still 12 games behind the leading Philadelphia Phillies. Stewart fouls it back. It remains a ball and 2-strike count on Shannon Stewart. Toronto Blue Jays, they've got the thump too because they're 10 games behind. Buck Martinez's club has got Boston in front of them and New York in first place. Yankee lead's been cut to a half game, but they too, like the Mets, it's not a matter of just getting to the top of the leader. It's chasing the other teams that are between them. 1-2, Trachsel. Outside corner and didn't get it. 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, the pitch was close, but outside. Stewart wearing the number 24, made famous by Willie Mays, and obviously Mays didn't play in Toronto because the number would have been retired.
He wouldn't be wearing it if Mays had been there. 2-2 breaking ball, and that's tap foul, and Stewart is putting Trachsel through the paces here. He's had to show him everything in this first at bat. How about the umpire controversy, Ralph? I went to the 2 managers today. We've talked about it. The umpires have filed an appeal now on it. that Major League Baseball is apparently using some kind of a pitch count to judge whether or not the umpires are using the strike zone appropriately, depending on how many strikes they are or aren't calling. Bobby Valentine said, I think overall it has been fair. Said, I don't think you can use a pitch count in any way to judge umpires. Buck Martinez said he thinks that the umpires have not called enough on the width. He said, I don't mind the up and down calls, but I think they still have some room to go in calling strikes on the corners. But both agreed that the idea of using a pitch count as somehow judging umpires and their job is a little disconcerting.
Well, the theory behind it, the lower the pitch count, the more strikes are being called. And that would force the umpires to call more strikes. That's the theory. I would say it's not really a good way to judge umpiring. You either can call the pitches right or not. You don't make them call strikes because.
What really bothered me today, there was a story in the New York Times, Crews on Deck, that this pitch count thing that umpires apparently are being judged by will be influential in deciding whether they get to work in the postseason. And that's one of the reasons they filed the grievance. 2-2 delivery, and Trachsel wins.
And that was a good pitch right there.
8 pitches to get it done, or 9? 9. And Trachsel gets the strikeout.
About right down the middle of the plate, and certainly was not a low pitch, so it was a good call.
Todd Zeile, first base. New York Lotto brings you the Mets defense. Edgardo Alfonzo starting at second. Robin Ventura is over at third. He was out yesterday, just a day off. Ray Ordonez wasn't. He's at short. He had a great day, as you saw in the highlights. Check the outfield here in a minute for you. Jose Cruz, the switch hitter, 1 for 4 in the opener yesterday. Trachsel outside with it for a ball. In the outfield, Benny Agbayani makes the start in left. Sinjo is back. First game back off the DL. He starts in center, and Joe McEwing's around in right. 1-0 delivery to Cruz is taken for a strike at the knees. Mike Piazza back in behind the plate. And Trachsel on the mound, his battery mate for this second of 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. Jose Cruz, 1 ball, 1 strike count. And to first base, Zeile will take it there himself.
Well, the Marriott Marquee pitching matchup. Halladay is working against the Mets. He has worked 6 innings, given up 8 hits in his last start. It was a no decision, no walks, and 10 Ks, a lot of Ks. Trachsel, his last time up against the Cards, and it was pointed out by Gary, a real tough outing.
Our matchups brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquee, Broadway's biggest hit. 2 down, nobody on. Raul Mondesi got out of a drought at the plate home run wise. Picked up number 17, a 2-run shot yesterday. He'd gone 123 at bats without a home run prior to the shot he got. Check swing and a strike call to him.
Mondesi has really worn Trachsel out. He's hit 7 home runs against Trachsel and 366 batting average. His lifetime average 288. He's hitting 277. It was a big star for the Dodgers. Got in trouble there and was sent away to Toronto.
He is one of the game's premier hitters, and power hitters in particular. Raul Mondesi, along with the great arm that he has, a cannon for an arm in the outfield. He's just in the prime of his career, 30 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. He'll step out 1-1.
And he carries a cannon literally on his arm. He has a cannon tattooed on his right arm.
It speaks the truth. 1-1. And that missed outside. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Now, those calls yesterday were strikes. Angel Hernandez, this is the whole new umpiring crew. Yesterday were strikes. Today, with Jerry Crawford behind the plate, looks like he's not going to have quite the width on the plate as we saw yesterday. Mondesi pops it up third base side. Robin Ventura. And that will take care of it. Good inning by Trachsel. He retires the side in order. New York Mets lineup. We'll take a look at it when we come back. A shot at the plate. Let's take a look at the lineups. Bobby Valentine, brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers, has McEwing, Alfonso Agbayani, Piazza, Ventura, and Zeile. Sinjo back in the lineup in center. Ray Ordonez and Trachsel on the season. 281, 5 homers, 32 RBIs. First game since June 17. did rehab a couple of games with the Cyclones. And McEwing, 395 in the month of July for Super Joe. He has added a whole new dimension to the leadoff spot for the Mets. And Timo Perez sent down. We'll have more on that, including a comment from Steve Phillips. Matty will be talking about that a little later. The 0-1 delivery. Fouled off hard at the plate. 2 strikes.
McEwing has a ritual he goes through after every pitch. He steps out of the batter's box, takes these practice swings here, does a few loosening up exercises, and gets back in. And this goes on after every pitch.
Which supposedly, Ralph, was one of the things the umpires weren't supposed to allow this year. Nobody was on base. Batters were not supposed to step out of the box. Grounded down to third. Be a tough play, and it's going to be a base hit. Lopez got it over there, but not in time. And McEwing, as good as a bunt, leads it off against Halladay with a single.
Second baseman.
McEwing, known for his hustle, he gets down the line hard every time. Lopez, normally a second baseman, sometimes a shortstop, very few times at third. The throw is entirely different at third base. He bounces the throw, and it's not handled by Fulmer at first. We'll see how it's scored, and so far no scoring on the play.
They're going to give him a base hit. So McEwing's on with a single. Alfonso up. Halladay, 24-year-old right-hander. That one out of the glove of Castillo. Castillo's got a great arm. Former Met catcher. Keep that in mind in this game. The numbers on Edgardo. He's still not in a groove. 1 for 4 in the opener of this series.
His average has dropped off 95 points after a very good last season. Second most drop-off of any regular player in baseball.
Fulmer at first dropping the ball there is an issue tonight too defensively. He came into a ball game twice last year to play defense. He is their designated hitter. In '99 he never played in the field, and last year he came on for like 2 innings. The Jays weren't even sure when it was, but they remembered he played first a couple of times. So he has played very little over the last 3 years. He's just a DH. So it'll be a struggle on anything that goes on around first base in this game. But they want his bat in the lineup. Carlos Delgado has the streak ended. He had played 254 consecutive games, all of them starting, and he is not starting in this game. And I asked Buck Martinez about that. He said, I've just got to get Brad Fulmer some at-bats. We talked with Carlos about his streak. Carlos said I can use the break, so it was all right with him. Grounded down to third. It's Suarez to turn, and they got 2. 5-4-3. Lopez is Torres to Fulmer, and that takes care of the leadoff single by McEwing. 2 down.
And Alfonso, real struggle in July. He's 3 for 33. And of course, hitting into the double play takes a runner off base. He's had a tough year, and of course, he has had a bad back.
Roy Halladay's had more than a tough year, Ralph. He's had a tough 3 years.
High ERA, he has really struggled on the mound. His lifetime record 13 and 14. His lifetime ERA is 5.90. He's a big guy.
That one hit in the air to left field corner. Agbayani, that's going to fall in. Shannon Stewart. Agbayani's on his way to second base. So the Mets get their second hit of the inning, but only 1 on now at second base with 2 away. Pennsylvania Department of Tourism bringing you the defensive alignment. Brad Fulmer at first. Second base, the rookie. We'll take a good look at Cesar Torres. Over at third base is Lopez, who we've seen already, Luis Lopez. And the shortstop, Gonzalez at short, as he was in the opener, Alex Gonzalez. The outfield, Shannon Stewart, who just chased that one down in left field. Jose Cruz Jr. in center. Raul Mondesi in right. And the fastball is a strike to Piazza, batting cleanup in this game. There's Alberto Castillo, the former Met, working behind the plate for the Jays. Runner at second base. Piazza being asked again to pick up that RBI. Early on, Mets with a couple of hits here off Halladay in the first.
In the opening, we noted the fact that he's carrying his hands lower, and he's also closed his stance right there somewhat.
And he drills it to right. Mondesi is there. One former teammate to another. Piazza, though, is hitting the ball hard. No runs, a couple of hits, and a base runner left on. Double play made a difference in this inning. And Piazza, despite hitting it hard, had the atom ball.
Hit a home run tonight. Block the plate with your whole body.
Set up early, Papa. The runners are killing you.
If I may say, your batting is you're choking up a little too much. Here, let me show you 1 second.
If I may, you need to be balanced.
You just gotta win because it's killing my husband.
You listening to me, Mike? Are you? Okay.
You ever thought maybe if you got a lighter bat, you could get it around faster?
How far is it to right field?
About 330.
How far is it to center field?
About 410.
Well, then hit it to right field.
Seeing themselves on the big screen at Shea. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Mets may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Mets. Gary Thorne, Ralph Kiner, Fran, Healy. Great to have you with us.
It's a perfect night for baseball right here at Shea. Couldn't be better conditions.
It's 77 degrees, light breeze blowing from right to left. The wind has changed yesterday blowing the other way. Here's Brad Fulmer, the designated hitter, getting a start at first base. First start, first defensive play he's had all year. And as we said, only a couple innings worth last year. They're trying to get some more offense in the lineup. Steve Trachsel, of course, was with Toronto last year. Trachsel went 8-15 with a 4.80 earned run average before coming over to the Mets, so he's pitching against former teammates for the most part on this Toronto lineup. Fulmer's 2 for 11 against Trachsel lifetime. Fulmer, who'd been with the Montreal Expos before, 1-1.
And Gary, Delgado wears Trachsel out, and he's not playing.
Yeah, we were looking at that before the game. Carlos Delgado not making the start tonight. Fulmer doesn't hit him that hard, and Delgado is absolutely tagged him. That one ripped to right field. That's an atom ball, too. That'll be hauled in by Joe McEwen. Delgado's 4 for 6 with 2 home runs off Trachsel in his career, and he's not in the game. But Buck Martinez said, I've got to get some at-bats for Fulmer. Pinch hit last Thursday. Carlos needs a little rest. His bat's a little quiet right now. And so that's why. Trachsel probably doesn't mind.
Got to be very happy, as a matter of fact.
Louis Lopez up. Lopez 0 for 4 in the opener. Takes the pitch outside for a ball.
One of the things about today's baseball is that players don't play all the games. And they're used in and out of the lineup a lot. The theory being that rest will do you some good.
Louis Lopez needs no rest on that one. Agbayani up with it. Lopez will make a big turn and stay. And there's the first hit off Trachsel. A 1-out single by Lopez here in the second inning. Now we'll see, as Ralph talked about, slowing the game down by Trachsel. Got that one pretty much in the middle of the strike zone.
Ball hit the left field. Louis, a pretty good utility ball player, did a great job for the Mets at second base. Started his career with the San Diego Padres. But that's a different Louis Lopez.
Same name, though. Alex Gonzalez. Infield set for 2 here. Gonzalez 1 for 4 yesterday. First ball hitting. You may see a lot of that, and it's something different, something Trachsel did not do when he was pitching for Toronto, and that's get the first pitch in for a strike. He has been doing that this year. 61% of the batters he's faced this year, he has thrown first pitch strikes.
And Tom Sevier says the most important pitch of a sequence to a batter is the first pitch.
That is a major improvement for Trachsel from last year. The average in the league is 53% first pitch strikes by pitchers. That's the league average. 0-1 count on Gonzalez. Overhand heater, foul back, 0-2.
95% of your winning pitchers are first pitch strike pitchers. And the prime example would be Gary Maddox of the Atlanta Braves.
Every one of them, right? Maddox should just go up there and know the first pitch is going to be a strike.
It won't be a fastball all the time, but he can get it over, sort of like Reed. Reed did poor men's Gary Maddox.
Step off here. Second base umpire being moved around a little bit as Doug Eddings apparently is in the batter's view, so he moved. 0-2 count. Decent lead at first base for Lopez, who's got some speed. Toronto doesn't run much, though, as we mentioned. And that one to short. Ordonez, Alfonso, Zeile. So each team has turned to double play early in the ball game. No runs, a base hit, and nobody left on. Second inning, Shea Stadium. On this beautiful summer evening, Ventura, Zeile, and Sinjo will be up. Robert Ventura had the day off yesterday. Back in the lineup at third base, Halladay for a strike. Halladay started in the minors this year because they wanted to work on his mechanics. He was basically an over-the-top thrower. He's dropped down a little bit, about 3/4 now, in order to get some movement on his cut fastball. That's going to be a foul ball. He's also developed a splitter, so it's a splitter, a cutter, straight fastball, changeup that he's using. And everything but the fastball and the curveball are new pitches for him that he's developed in the minors, starting in winter ball, actually. They're hoping he develops. He was a high draft pick, first-round pick by Toronto. Mark Connor working with him at the major league level, and the whole organization working on really redesigning Halladay as a pitcher. This is only start number 2 and only his 3rd appearance this year at the major league level. 0-2 pitch, missed outside, 1-2.
He has good size, and of course by dropping down to a 3/4 delivery, it will make the ball move away from left-hand batters.
Big hop for Fulmer. And there's one away. It's going to be a tough thing to do, Ralph, like it'd be for a hitter. Someone who's been successful their whole career. Granted, it was, you know, a high school and that kind of ball, but and then to ask them to change everything.
It's got to be real tough because basically your built-in actions come from when you start playing baseball at whatever age it might be, 9, 10, 11 years old, and to change after 15 or 20 years, it is not easy.
Halladay's trying to make that big comeback here. Talk about a comeback. He's only 24 years old, but it really is almost that. And that one chopped foul by Zeile. Take a look at our Panasonic Fast Facts, brought to you by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
Todd Zeile, nicknamed Ziploc. His rookie season with the Cardinals, he was a catcher then. He's a direct descendant of 2 U.S. presidents, John Adams and John Quincy, father and son. First time it happened in our country, it's happened again, one more time. He's married to one of the great Olympic gymnasts of all time. McNamara was her name.
Grounds that one to short. That was more like an Adams family than an Adams presidency ground out. But there are 2 down. And Sinjo is back.
Sinjo out of the lineup because of a bad leg, pulled muscle in the leg. Had a rehab at Brooklyn, the new ball club, the Cyclones in Brooklyn, that started playing this year, and with great success.
Selling him out. He played 2 games with Brooklyn, went 2 for 7, RBI and a walk. He played center and right in those games. He's in center tonight. And if you missed it earlier, Timo Perez has been sent down. He is back at the minors. And a chopper to short. This will be a tough play for Gonzalez. Running throw, and he got it. So 3 ground ball outs. Halladay with a very strong inning here in the second.
Back at Shea Stadium, Steve Phillips, the Mets general manager, celebrating an anniversary today. It's the 4th anniversary of his being elevated to the general manager's position. He's made a number of memorable moves in that tenure. Today he made a move that may not rank among them. Tsuyoshi Shinjo activated off the DL. Timo Perez sent down to AAA Norfolk. We asked Steve why Perez was the one sent down.
Well, I think with Joe McEwing playing in the outfield and really being versatile enough that if late in the game we need to move him to the infield, we felt that we could go with the 3 catchers for a while and maybe send Timo down and give him a chance to get some at-bats and try to get a stroke back. He just hasn't been right all year. He was hampered with a bad bone bruise on his thumb early in the year and just never got a stroke, and we hope that going down there he can get back together.
And for his part, Perez says he's going to go down, work hard, and hopes to be back with the Mets in a short period of time. Gary?
All right, Matty, thank you. Another former Met up at the plate. Catcher Alberto Castillo with the Cardinals for a while, now with Toronto, foul back. I think Timo Perez, he did at times an outstanding job, but I think the buildup given to him by the Mets organization was almost unfair.
Well, one thing about him, he did not produce at all. He's average here with the Mets is 247 with 2 home runs and 19 runs batted in. For an outfielder, that's really poor. And he had 1 stolen base in 6 attempts, so that was a port on his side, and he never could pull that out.
Yep.
I mean, you've got to produce. There's no answer to baseball other than that.
And he simply did not, and he gained all kind of notoriety last year as the Mets headed into postseason play, as he did have some big games and made some big plays at certain points. But as is said so often in this game, for some players, if you play enough, you'll be found out.
Exposure is really the big key. You have to go through that. When they find out about you, know what you can do and start to defense you against what he could do. And the best thing was trying to bunt the ball and run it out.
Yep. 1-2 delivery to Castillo from Steve Trachsel is on the inside corner. Castillo goes down looking. Second strikeout for Steve Trachsel in the ball game.
Oh, Trachsel comes right in on the inside part of the plate, gets the called strike. The second strikeout. Both have been on fastballs and both have been looking.
Good start for Trachsel. 1 down. Here's the youngster, just 21 years old, who's playing regularly this season from A-ball to AAA last year. Fouls it off. Cesar Torres. He is from Venezuela. A-ball in '99, AAA ball last season, and now here he is. It's only his 4th season of professional baseball.
And he makes a rookie mistake right there. He's batting 8th in the batting order. No score in the ball game, and he's trying to bunt his way on with the pitcher coming up. That is not good baseball.
He fouls that one back. Buck Martinez can't say enough about this youngster. And there you see Halladay waiting on deck. He's an outstanding fielder, has been noted throughout his minor league career, Martinez said, for a great arm. He's a Ray Ordonez type infielder. Second base and shortstop. He's at second base tonight. Now they're trying to see if they can develop his hitting. 0-2. Asking a lot of a 21-year-old to really learn how to play this game at the major league level. But as we've said so often, we see more and more of this. Clubs who just can't afford to keep people with talent in the minors because they don't have enough talent to go around. 1-2. It's Torres will step out.
There are 2 reasons for that, and one of them is economic. When you come out of the minor leagues, of course, you make the minimum salary.
This will be a tough play. Trachsel doesn't have a chance. So as Torres will beat it out, and an infield hit with the pitcher coming up in 1 down.
Well,
Tonight after the game, stay tuned for a complete recap of the Mets, plus all the home team news, scores, and highlights. New York Sports Report coming your way following Mets baseball here on Fox Sports Net.
Well, as I was going to say, he tried to bunt his way on and then got on because of a swinging bunt.
Perfectly placed.
Perfectly placed.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
Now Halladay will come to the plate. Everybody will be looking for bunt here. Halladay has not had an at-bat this year. 24-year-old right-hander, lifetime 0 for 2. Ventura moving in. Good speed at first. It's Torres being held by Zeile. Ventura is almost in the ball. here. Chance at second. Trachsel looked, decided against it, goes to first. Alfonso came over to cover. The fans in a murmur thought maybe he had a play at second base.
Well, he had a chance at second base. There's no question about that. But he didn't want to take it. He wanted to get the sure out of first and get the second out of the inning. But real good teams pull this play off and get the lead runner. He's got all the time in the world to make the play at second, but it would take a very good throw.
So he took the safe route. Now we'll see whether or not the strategy will work for the Toronto Blue Jays as the leadoff batter. Shannon Stewart stands in. 9-game hit streak going and a runner at second base. Scoreless game here in the third inning. Stewart has been one of their best clutch hitters. .321 with runners in scoring position this year. And among the regulars for the Blue Jays, he has been #1 in that department from the leadoff spot. 2 down. Ventura, that's a foul ball. Third base umpire Eric Cooper making the call. Now the home plate umpire, the rule is home plate umpire makes the call on those until it gets to third. Once it passes the bag, the base umpire makes the call. Bobby Valentine's hollering out to the home plate umpire, Jerry Crawford, "That's your call. Did you call it?" Crawford turned around and said, "I called it." Foul.
Yeah, Jerry shakes his head. Yes, I made the call, but he
didn't.
I don't think he did.
I don't either.
Right here, the ball goes down toward third base and is fielded in back of the bag. The umpire at third, you see, make the call of foul. If Crawford called the play, that would be vocal.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. An 0-1 count with 2 down. Play Stewart straight away. And a good fastball, 0-2. Shannon Stewart up there in the American League leaderboard, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Ichiro with 135 hits in Seattle leading it. Then Shannon Stewart, Brett Boone in Seattle having a career MVP type year, and Roberto Alomar with the Indians.
The Major League total of hits in one season is 257. And Ichiro has a chance to break that. But again, it's a longer season now than it was when it was set originally, back, I believe, in 1924.
We said tonight that plate not expanded by Jerry Crawford. Not saying he's not calling balls and strikes, just that the width of that plate is a little narrower than what we've seen before, and he's not given either pitcher the benefit on those close pitches. 1-2 delivered. Stewart down the line, foul in right field. Was out there for the All-Star game, Ralph. Ichiro. On the East Coast, we just don't see enough of the Mariners play to know. I have never seen a city so taking in a player the way they have with Ichiro. They are baseball crazy out there right now.
Well, he's a great player. That's one thing about it. He's got one of the great arms of all time. I saw him throw one ball in the All-Star game I couldn't believe.
And they've got such a great team. I mean, they've had one of the best first halves in Major League history. I mean, they've gone nuts about baseball, and the new park to go with it. 1-ball, 2-strike count on Stewart. It's Doris off second base. 1-2. And he got him to chase. Trachsel bears down and gets his 3rd strikeout. No runs, base hit. 1 left on, in scoring position. And Trachsel a very strong first 3 innings. The longest win streak the Mets have had this season, 4 games once. They have won on other occasions, 3 in a row twice. They're trying to put together a 3-game win streak here tonight. Halladay to Ray Ordonez. Castillo will come over and not have a play on it. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, Trachsel and then McEwing.
In case you're wondering who the record holder is for the most hits in the season, it was George Sisler, who had 257 hits in a 154-game season. That record has stood years and years. I think it was 1924 he set that record.
0-1 deliveries, a fastball by Halladay that misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
He was a hitting coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates, a good friend of Branch Rickey, and he was there when I was playing for Pittsburgh. And in the course of I guess about 2 years he was there, the only thing he said to me was hello. Thank goodness he didn't say goodbye, but...
See what a smart hitting coach he was, though, Ralph. Huh?
But he was some hitter.
Yeah, he...
Of course, his son, Dick Sisler, was a great player for the Philadelphia Phillies. He had another son that pitched for the Red Sox, Sisler. I've forgotten his first name.
Second base. It's Torres up with this one. And Ray Ordonez is retired. We want to remind you, Wednesday on Metro TV, the Metro Stars fire away in Colorado against the Rapids. Game time 7:30. The Metro Stars soccer is coming your way Wednesday night only on Metro TV. Each team with a couple of hits, one down here, and Steve Trachsel come to the plate. They are from Salt Lake City, hundreds of them on hand here. Scouts who were paraded onto the field prior to the game. Trachsel to short. Gonzalez and Fulmer says, hey, I can do this. Pretty good pick over there for a guy who hasn't played in 2 years in the field. 2 down.
Those were not regular baseball scouts, they were Boy Scouts.
That's right.
I was a Boy Scout at one time, Gary, and I was going for my life badge.
I'm glad you added that.
And the one merit badge I never got was athletics.
The one you never got?
Yeah, I had to get that for getting my life badge.
Gee, you think with the home runs you hit, they might want to go back and give that to you?
Never got. Nobody ever said you got one on your ability.
Life's.
I couldn't write the essay. The essay, I think, was 1,000 words, and I didn't have time for that.
Joe McEwing with 2 down. Boy, you could have done that while you were at USC.
Well, I had so many other things to do at SC, I hadn't time for that. Of course, I was a little bit older at that time.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Other things to do at SC. You want to mark that one down. I'm going to tell Seaver you said that.
Tell him for sure.
McEwing had a single his first time up, the 1-1. And Halladay's inside, 2-1. 8 out, 6 on the ground, including a double play. Halladay, if he's got that cutter working and that sinking fastball, those pitches he's striving to perfect, will be a ground ball pitcher if all the things they're working on come to fruition. Off the fist that time, and a 2 ball, 2 strike count. Mark Connor certainly is hoping. They need some help on this staff. And Halladay, they had counted on being a starter for the last 3 years, and last year 4-7 with a 10.64 earned run average. 2-2 delivery, and is he hot? Joe McEwing, so long as nobody's on base, Joe's going to get there. 2 singles in this ball game. A couple of hits in the ball game yesterday. He's over 400 now for an average in the month of July.
Oh, here's a fastball, and he clocks this one. Out over the plate, a line drive to center field, and the Mets have a base runner.
So McEwing's on. The Mets have 3 hits in the ball game, and he has 2 of them. And Adgardo Alfonzo coming up. He hit into a double play his first time up. Joe McEwing, we were talking about, with the bases are empty now, he's hitting over 350. But when he's got runners on, this is coming into today now. The runners on, 77. Other situations, 377, and if they're empty, 344, and he's added 2 hits to that today. Off-speed curveball that misses inside. Alfonso 1-0. Ralph was talking about those batting averages that have dipped, and Edgardo Alfonso's dropping 95 points. Darren Fletcher, with Toronto, catcher, has the greatest drop from last year to this year, 120 points. He caught yesterday's game. Inside corner, strike 1-1. Is it his back?
hard to believe. Yeah, it could be his back.
He will not talk about that and says, look, I'm fine, and pretty much leaves it at that. But this is a .296 career hitter who hit .324 last year, batting .228.
Off of the record that he's put up with the New York Mets, you have to think it has to be physical, because he's been a solid player since he joined the Mets.
And obviously, when he's hitting the way he is, the Mets really suffer. He's a very important bat in that lineup. Halladay takes it to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Mets have been able to put these game wins together. 3 out of the last 4. It has been pitching and not hitting. The New York Mets batting average has hovered around the .220 mark for the month, but the opponents are hitting just .200 against the Mets for the month. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. McEwing drawing the attention of Halladay. Strike called on the outside corner. So Halladay gets his first strikeout, and the Mets are retired. No runs, a base hit, and 1 left on. Fran Healy will be coming along to join Ralph. We've completed.
Well, back here at Shea Stadium, the Mets and the Blue Jays on a beautiful night here at Shea. Now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Who were the last trio of teammates to finish 1, 2, and 3 in the batting race? What do you think, Ralph?
Very solid.
I was thinking of Red Sox teammates of Williams, Pete Reynolds, and maybe somebody else. No? Not even close?
Could be.
Jose Cruz steps in and fouls the ball off. 0-1 on Jose Cruz Jr. Trade talks surrounding Jose Cruz Jr. They say he might end up back in Seattle. A lot of people were wondering how he got away from Seattle.
His dad, a very good ball player for the Houston Astros. He was really highly touted as a young player. Thought he was going to be a real big star. Hasn't been able to pull that off.
Batting .290 right now. 11 home runs, 46 RBIs. Gaston, one-time manager of the Blue Jays. And he's been a long time. He watches Cruz bounce easily out at first base to Todd Zeile. 1 down. So Steve Trachsel throwing the ball well, getting ahead of the hitters. And so far, the Blue Jays have yet to score, and they only have 2 hits against Trachsel. Trachsel now will take on Raul Mondesi. Mondesi, one of the better players in the game. He has all the tools. He's got 17 home runs, 56 RBIs. The second game of this 3-game series. Tomorrow night, the finale. Then the Marlins come to town. Those tough Florida Marlins. Mondesi fouls it off for a strike. 0-1. You know, Ralph, I'm listening to you talk about Ichiro's with an outside shot of getting the all-time hit record held by George Sisler. A few years ago, I was in Japan broadcasting a game during one of the Major League strikes. And one of the things that stood out in my mind, and people had talked to me about it over there in Japan, is the 0-1 pitch to Mondesi. It's now 1-1. Was if a foreign player got close to a record held by a Japanese player in Japanese Major League Baseball, they wouldn't pitch to him. It's funny, over here, that would never happen. No matter who it is, they're going to go after him.
Was it Jeff Burrows who was going after Sadata Haro's record of home runs in the season, and they walked him every time he came up intentionally?
Was it Burrows or was it Randy Bass?
I'm not sure who it was, but in the manager of the team for the Giants over there was the guy that held the record, and he walked him every time.
Sadata was a manager of the Tokyo Giants when I was over there broadcasting. Up high to Mondesi, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and yet that would never come up. But there was a book written, I believe, on Japanese baseball concerning that. I guess today it wouldn't happen. It's certainly not going to happen to the young outfielder in Seattle. If he's good enough to get that record held by George Sisler, he's going to get it. Oh, there's a long drive to left field. Agbayani on the warning track makes the grab. So Mondesi just missing his 18th home run of the season. 2 down. And a reminder, tomorrow night on Fox Sports Net, the Mets and Blue Jays wrap up this 3-game series. Our coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. with Geico Mets on deck. Then the action gets underway at 7. That's tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Net. Pretty good hitter will step in now for the Blue Jays. Brad Fulmer playing first base tonight. Was a member of those Montreal Expos, a high draft pick with the Expos, but they got down on him because Ralph, they said he spent more time in the weight room than he did in the batting cage.
You can tell by those muscles he was in the weight room.
When he first broke in, a lot of people compared him to George Brett. Spray type hitter. Swings and misses right there. 1 ball and 1 strike on Fulmer. He flied to right his first time up. So it's 1-1 on Fulmer. Blue Jays taking on the Mets, second game of 3. Mets coming now winning baseball right after the All-Star break. Fulmer's foul tipped the ball into Piazza's glove. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Winning 3 out of their last 4. Taking on those red-hot Red Sox over the weekend. Now the Blue Jays, then the Marlins come to town. Bobby Valentine's got 1,000 victories under his belt in the major leagues. And the 1-2 pitch to Fulmer. Line drive, base hit, right field. 3rd hit of the ball game for the Blue Jays. So with 2 out here in the 4th, the Blue Jays have a base run.
Fulmer lined out to right field his first time up, but gets a base hit there off the splitter.
That was Trachsel's 50th pitch.
Saved with that pitch and lined it to right field. Blue Jays have a team batting average of .288, but they are the worst on base hits to the outfield of going from first to third in baseball.
Well, they got a shot at doing it here. 2 men are gone. There goes the runner to throw for Piazza. Not in time. So Fulmer with a stolen base.
His 2nd stolen base of the year and 2 tries. He didn't figure to be running, but the opposition against the Mets have had 73 stolen bases in 82 attempts. And a throw by Piazza after a big jump at first base. Again, there's question about Piazza's arm, but right there, that base is stolen off the pitcher.
Of course, now with the success rate of the opposition against the Mets, a lot of it will be focusing on Mike Piazza. And as you mentioned, Ralph, sometimes, not all the time, and this goes for all teams, sometimes they steal a base on the pitcher. Outside to Luis Lopez. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, and a Blue Jay third baseman. Lopez has proven to the Blue Jays that he can hit. The only question is whether or not he can play defense. Fulmer with the leadoff second base, 1-1 on Luis Lopez. Misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. I know for years, Ralph, they would say, and I like the idea when I was a catcher, that they always steal. They steal second base or third base off the pitcher. Well, I love that theory, but it's not true. I threw too many balls in the center field to blame the pitcher all the time. 2-1 on Lopez.
This is not the Luis Lopez that played for the Mets. This is a new rookie Luis Lopez. Bigger, much bigger than the one that played for the Mets.
And a better hitter, batting .328. The Luis Lopez that played for the Mets will be batting left-handed right now against Trachsel. Louis Lopez, who played for the Mets, a switch hitter. Piazza going out to talk to Trachsel. Well, the Braves and the Devil Rays are all tied at 1 tonight. Chipper Jones hit his 27th home run of the season to tie that ball game up at 1. Bobby Valentine not scoreboard watching unless it's the score of the Mets. Yeah, we're talking about the throwing of Mike Piazza. If he wasn't struggling with his throwing, there'd be no talk about him moving to another position. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. And I'll guarantee you, it eats up Mike Piazza. He worked too hard to get behind the plate to be able to swallow the problem he is having throwing runners out. Three balls and 2 strikes on Lopez.
Well, right now, you certainly don't want the batter to be looking for a walk. He was taking that 3-1 pitch and looking for a walk.
Yeah, and he has a single in this ball game. He's 1 for 1. Following Lopez will be Gonzalez. Popped it foul and out of play. So we'll do it again at 3-2. The Blue Jays. This team is not the first team in Major League Baseball to be called the Blue Jays. The Philadelphia Phillies in the 40s wanted to change their name to the Blue Jays. Didn't work.
I played for Toronto in the minor leagues that we called the Maple Leafs. 1943.
Sure you weren't playing hockey?
No. But the one thing about Toronto I remember, in 1943, we had to play baseball doubleheaders on Saturday, couldn't play baseball on Sunday. We had to go out of town. There was no way in the world that would allow you to play baseball with their blue laws. No bars were open, no movies, no nothing. The next time I went back to Toronto, I checked into a nightclub and the hat-shirt girl was naked. I think that town didn't change a lot.
Yeah. That. Now you're talking. 3-2. This place is starting to after that statement. Whoa! Lopez is out. So are we, I think. After 3.5. Don't score. Ralph and I'll be back, we hope. Hey, Mets fans, Pepsi invites you to show up at Shea on Wednesdays for free admission to the Pepsi picnic area. The first 800 fans with a Pepsi can or bottle will be admitted to the Pepsi picnic area at Shea Stadium for free. Have a great time with your friends and family and enjoy the game from the left field bleachers. The Wednesday action continues on July 18th when the Mets host the Florida Marlins at 7:10 p.m. So bring a Pepsi and show up right here at Shea for free. Well, back here at Shea Stadium. Bottom of the 4th inning. Benny Agbayani leads it off. He takes outside ball 1. Agbayani will be followed by Piazza and then Ventura. Both teams with 3 hits in this game. Agbayani fouls that ball off. So how do you like playing in Toronto?
It was a great city. I enjoyed that, and it was a good baseball town then. It's become, of course, a much different city, as you can tell from what I said.
Yeah, I was wondering, what was the time?
The time lapse was quite a bit.
It was a few years.
It was about 20 years.
20 years.
And, of course, they play baseball on Sunday there now, and it's a entirely different city. Might be the best city in Northern California, Northern America.
Swung on and missed. Now, the second time in town, did you wear a hat?
Well, that was a strange thing about it. I didn't wear a hat.
Boy, Toronto's changed, huh?
Our manager up there was Bertie Grahams, the old spitball pitcher.
Up high to Agbayani, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Rui Grimes, Hall of Famer. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Agbayani swung on and missed. One down.
He was about, I would guess, about 46, 7 years old when he managed up there, and he would still pitch batting practice. And he would throw that spitter. I want to tell you, it was some tough pitch to hit.
Early Griswold, who was a guy that, didn't he manage the Brooklyn Dodgers?
He did him one time. Was a great pitcher. No question about his ability.
Well, one man's down. Mike Piazza, the batter. Long home run with one hand. And he picks up a base hit to right field.
Well, Mike lined out to right field his first time up, and now he hits one off the hands and gets a base hit to right field.
That's when Mike Piazza's swinging the bat the best.
Right here, he gets jammed, hits the ball near the trademark off the bat, and gets a base hit. Another thing about Toronto in 1943, the economic picture was entirely different. I made $400 a month. And they paid me in Canadian money, and it was 10% higher than American money was. And I got $440 a month up there. Of course, now the money, the Canadian dollar is worth less than 70 cents on the American dollar.
And that's one of the reasons players don't like playing in Canada. One of many reasons.
Most of the players get their salary adjusted to American money, though. If you sign for $5 million a year, it's an American money.
Yeah, but from what I'm under the impression you pay taxes in both countries.
You have to pay taxes up there for the money you make in Canada.
Well, it's 0-2 on Robin Ventura. He'll be followed by Todd. Zeile, Piazza on first. Outside to Ventura, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gonzalez. 2 down.
Here, the location of the pitch tracks to Piazza. Both of those fastballs were on the inside corner, and he went to right field. He hit his base hit, the one he just got in this inning, off the hands to right field. And of course, the first one he lined hard to right field off the inside part of the plate.
And our friends at Oral Health, America's National Spit Tobacco Education Program, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. 1-0 on Todd Zeile. You ever mess around with chewing tobacco?
Never did.
That's a nasty habit, isn't it?
I tried it once in high school, and I got so sick I never could get around it again.
There's a strike, 1-1. When Yogi was coaching with the Yankees, and you would have a conversation with Yogi, and you know he had those white uniforms on, and talk about spit tobacco. That's what he was doing. He'd be talking, and the tobacco would be coming out, and it'd be all over your uniform to get done with the conversation. Fouled off.
Yogi was notorious for talking to the hitters when they were at batting, trying to break up their concentration. He'd ask you how the family was, how your wife was, how the kids were, all those things.
I've had hitters tell the umpire you got to shut him up.
I used to tell Yogi, forget what you're talking about. I'm up here to hit, not to talk, make conversation.
It's 1-2 now on Todd Zeile. Inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Roy Halladay matching pitch for pitch with Steve Trachsel. Halladay went all the way back to A-ball to work on his stuff. Mel Queen went with him. Roving pitching instructor. When they sent him to AA, he went to AA with him. They sent him to AAA, he went to AAA with him. Front of first. But Piazza back. I should say Ventura back. Just what Ventura needed with that sore shoulder to have to dive back into first.
That was a good throw by Castillo and a close play at first base. Perfect pitch to throw to first base on the outside pitch.
So it's a full count, and Todd Zeile. Homer playing way behind Ventura, and there he goes. The ball is in the dirt outside. Ball 4. So the Mets have runners on first and second here in the 4th inning with 2 men out. Now we'll go back and take a look at our Aflac trivia question. Who were the last trio of teammates to finish 1, 2, and 3 in a batting race?
Got me.
Yeah, got me too. Now 1, 2, and 3. I wonder how long ago that was. Ooh. 1993, the Blue Jays, John Olerud.
And John almost hit 400 that year.
He fell 40 points short.
Well, he was hitting 400 going into the last month.
Swung and a miss by Shinjo, 0-1. In fact, Cito Gaston, who's the batting instructor now at the Blue Jays and was the manager when John Olerud played there, was instrumental in trading him to the Mets. And he said he'll only play 1 year in New York and then he'll retire. Cito was wrong.
Wrong again.
Shinjo to left field. Stewart makes the grab, and that'll do it. The Mets strain 2 here in the bottom of the 4th. They fail to score. Well, back here at Shea Stadium, no score. The Mets and the Blue Jays, and story concerning those umpires.
Well, their dads both umpired in the major leagues. Shag Crawford was the father of the umpire behind the home plate. Shag, a good umpire, and Jerry Crawford, his son. And at first base, we have Brian Gorman, and Tom Gorman was his father, who umpired in the major leagues. Great story about Tom Gorman, and he was really a wonderful story to tell of himself. He was umpiring at first base in the game with the Cubs and Pirates. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Alex Gonzalez takes inside.
There was a bang-bang play at first base. The first baseman, the ball, and the umpire, and the runner all ran together at the same time, hit first base at the same time. Gorman was knocked down to the ground and was knocked out. Tom Gorman, that is. And he was lying on the ground and unconscious, had a broken leg, as a matter of fact. And DeRosa, the manager of the Cubs, came out and he's yelling at Gorman, "What is he? Save her out." And Danny Murtaugh, the manager of the Pirates, came out and said the same thing. And Gorman came to and he said, "Who was that was yelling, save her out?" And DeRosa said, "It was me." He says, "Who's me?" He says, "It's me. This is Leo DeRosa." And Gorman hardly could move, and he was in terrible pain. Said, "Well, DeRosa, if you said it, he's out." So they carried Gorman off the field. DeRosa didn't get the call.
Tom Gorman was a great after-dinner speaker. He used to be on the banquet circuit. Great umpire. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Gonzalez. Steve Trachsel is pitching a nice ball game along with his competitor tonight, the big right-hander with the Blue Jays, Roy Halladay. There's Halladay. Fastball misses outside. I like that story, but the other story is a lot more shocking. Kind of woke people up. It gave us some insight into how Toronto changed over the years.
Certainly an insight in the city of Toronto.
I hope not. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Up high, ball 4, so Gonzalez walks. And now we'll take a look at our Marriott Marquis pitching matchup. Brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis, Broadway's biggest hit.
And here's the Halladay 4 innings of work, 4 hits, and Trachsel 4 innings of work and 3 hits. And he has just allowed the leadoff batter to get on base for the first time in this game, which is not a good sign.
So with nobody out, pretty good speed on first. The batter, Alberto Castillo. You might as well look for the bunt here. Castillo, a longtime member of the Mets organization. As they check Gonzalez, he's okay at first base.
You think they'll win here? I don't think he will.
No. Well, Castillo batting .215. Well, he's got the 1 home run. So you would go right down the line, let him swing the bat.
Well, at the bottom of the order, you got the 8th and 9th batters to follow. Tie ball game, 5th inning, on the road.
There's a pitch out. Bobby Valentine said Castillo was the best defensive catcher he ever saw, and he had him in the minor leagues in AAA with the Mets. 3 Bevington, the third base coach. No sign. You're on your own. So it's 1-0 on Castillo with Gonzalez at first. Check him, and he's safe again.
That's sort of a backhanded compliment. But he is a good catcher, no question about that. We had a third baseman named Dick Cole, and they said he was the best hitter you would ever want to play with the bases loaded, but not for your team, for the opposition.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Castillo takes a strike. Now, Castillo, his first time up, struck out. Everything collapsed on a fastball. So when you see that happen, you know what? And I'm not a big believer in a bunt, but in this case, I'm not having a bunt. Now, you can look at that 0 for 13, and you can say that's not good, or you can say
he's due.
He's due.
Well, he's hitting .218 for the year. So that's why you would think he might be bunting.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a real big believer in the bunt, but, you know, we watched Alberto Castillo play with the Mets, and when you think about it, you think about a good defensive catcher who can bunt. Cito Gaston, the batting coach, looking on.
Mets are playing back now. They're not looking for that bunt.
No. So I guess Bobby also respected Alberto Castillo's bat. Of course, Alberto Castillo had Todd Hundley in his prime ahead of him here in New York. Gonzalez with 9 steals. He's leaning. He's going.
Big jump.
And that ball is fouled off. He had a huge jump. Now, if that's a hit and run, he was more concerned with getting the jump, and you're not concerned with the jump on a hit and run.
I think it was really a straight steal because he got a tremendous jump. Look at this jump. He's halfway there, and the ball's just left the hands.
And we go back to your point earlier, how many times the base is stolen against the pitcher. Castillo.
The Mets pitched out once in this sequence of pitching. Might try it again here.
Not leaning right now. And he holds the ground as Castillo takes strike 3 for the second time tonight.
Should have done it.
That's why we're up here. Second guess.
Well, the pitch is called the strike, and you might say it was a shade low.
Well, he bent down low enough to give a good shot.
It's hard to bend your knees from the knees down.
That's right.
Knees up, you might be able to bend it.
Runner still on first. Swung on and missed, so it's 0-1. It's Torres, the batter, young second baseman. Blue Jays are very high on him defensively, and so far in the big leagues, he's shown him a little bit with the bat. Blue Jays are thinking they will be trading an outfielder shortly. Foul out of play. They have a young center fielder in Syracuse they're very high on. They like to get into the big leagues. So it's 0-2 on Itzoris. Buck Martinez looking on.
And their former broadcaster.
Yeah, Buck does a lot of broadcasting for the Blue Jays. And we got the job. He brought in his old buddy Cookie Rojas from the Kansas City Royals. Should say he played with him in the Kansas City organization. There's Cookie. Cookie coached in New York with the Mets for a number of years. Said he was satisfied when they got to the World Series.
Born in Cuba.
Yeah. 0-2 now on Itzoris. Foul out of play. You notice how now some of the things that are coming into question, it's like back in the 40s and 50s, Ralph. The age of players. Back then, it was the players born in the United States, and, you know, they'd be lying about their age. Now they're wondering about some of the players coming in from Cuba. They're wondering about the birth certificates they're bringing.
Yeah, they're saying they're much younger than they really are.
But I think that's really going to be rampant in baseball because it's now an international pool. 0-2. The Blue Jays second base, and once again they check the Blue Jays shortstop, Gonzalez, who's on first.
In the old days, the players would say they were younger than they actually were because they could stay in the major leagues a longer time. They'd say, you're not too old to play. When the pension plan came in, you had to have the right age to collect the plan at a certain time, and so they got their age straightened out right now. You couldn't get it until you were so many years old, and they didn't want to have to wait for it.
But I think with this international pool now, you're going to see a lot of the, I'm not saying that they're going to make up birth certificates, but I guess I am saying that.
Well, nobody checked them in the old days.
The players used to just make it up. Fouled out of play, so we'll do it again at 0-2.
Of course, Satchel Paige, no one knew how old he was. Never had a birth certificate.
You know, I heard an author on a show recently talking about how he went back and put together all the stats of the Negro League players. And you figure Satchel Paige won 1,500 games. Well, he figured it out, and I'm assuming he was accurate, that by today's standards, he would have won 245 Major League games.
I can't believe that.
I can't either.
Keep it year-round.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes, but do you count more than back then, what was it, 154-game schedule?
I don't know if they played a 154-game schedule in the Negro Leagues, but he pitched all over the world. He pitched in all the different countries. I always thought he probably threw more pitches than any pitcher alive, and the other one would be Nolan Ryan.
1 ball and 2 strikes. One thing that Satchel Paige was, besides a guy with a lot of ability, I was told, is he was a great self-promoter.
He was one of the greatest.
Yeah.
He also made the most money.
That's because he was a great self-promoter.
They two go together.
Yes. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And it's Soros, the second baseman with the Blue Jays. Runner on first. We got 1 out. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Scoreless ball game, the Jays and the Mets. And the 2-2 pitch with Gonzalez going. Ball hit out in front of the plate. Piazza gets him at first. Gonzalez moves to second. 2 down.
Piazza quickly coming out to make the play. An easy play at first base. No chance at second. Now with 2 men out, a runner in scoring position.
And you know, Ralph, we've talked about Mike Piazza, who will probably go down, if he continues to catch, as the greatest hitting catcher of all time, if he's able to continue to produce offensively. One guy you never mention, we never show in a graphic when we show all the great catchers, Josh Gibson.
That is true. One of the great hitters of the Negro Leagues. Died very young.
38 years old. Died of a brain tumor.
We used to go into ballparks where he played. And, of course, he played in major league ballparks. And you hear that Josh Gibson hit one here and hit one there. In fact, I was told he hit one out of the polo grounds in center field and was the first to do that.
I'd have to see. You know what? We need videotape of that because that was a bolt.
Of course, at that time, they didn't have any videotape.
Right. 0-1 on Halladay. And you really can't put it all in historian's lap, can you? Swung on and missed because an historian might have been at the game.
Yeah, one thing about baseball in those days, in the Negro Leagues, they used a different ball from the major leagues. It was a really hard, it's called a hardwood baseball. And it was extremely light.
0-2 on Halladay. Up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ralph, why would the Negro Leagues use a ball different than what you guys were using?
I have no idea. And maybe it was to promote the fact that hitting was easier with a liver ball. And I have no knowledge of why.
Not sour grapes on the part of the Major League.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
1-2 on Halladay. 2-2. It's funny, though, even, you know, for years you would hear one generation. They're through playing, the next generation will be playing. The guys who retire would complain about the lively ball. You guys were doing it, and you were all playing at the same time.
Well, the one thing, the minor leagues, they use different balls from what they use in the major leagues. The old Southern Association used a ball called the 97 ball.
I remember that.
And it was really live. It was a live ball. Hit a lot of home runs down there.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. No score. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. This is a huge pitch from coming up for Trachsel and Halladay.
Thought they had that one in the strike zone, but didn't get the call.
Pitches this inning for Steve Trachsel. Gonzalez on second. Halladay bounces it to second base. Easy play for Alfonso. Scored 4-3. That'll do it for the Blue Jays. They strand a runner. They fail to score. We go to the bottom of the 5th. No score. Familiar sound here at Shea Stadium. Planes overhead. Beautiful night for a ball game. Second game of this 3-game series. And for the Mets, it'll be Ordonez, Trachsel, and McEwing. Bottom of the 5th inning. Halladay's first pitch is boxed up by Castillo. You know, it's the worst. You don't want to hear that if you're a catcher.
Boxed up another crate of oranges. Wow. Fastball got crossed up. Had to.
Yeah, but Ralph, he didn't even talk to him. Swung on and missed. You know what he's thinking about? There's 2 strikeouts.
Might be.
I know. I'm speaking from experience. It's tough to strike out twice. First 2 at-bats and go out and catch a trade. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Bounce to the second base. 1 down. Ordonez out. And for the latest on the Mets, check out the MSGnetwork.com, the ultimate website for New York sports fans, featuring exclusive articles from Marv Albert, Mike Breen, and Fox Sports 9 their personalities, Howie Rose, and yours truly, and many, many more. Visit MSGnetwork.com. More angles, more insight. That's our online poll. So, very active. Who are the Mets most likely to trade? Ray Ordonez, Todd, Zeile, Kevin Apier, Rick White.
I'd say one guy in there isn't going to be traded.
That big right-hander.
That's right.
Kevin Apier, boy, he's a whale of a pitcher. He's got good stuff. He's 33 years old.
The others might have to make sure they send the laundry out on a 1-day return service.
Here's the ground ball, base hit. So Steve Trachsel picks up. Is it going to be a double? The throw not in time. How about that? Steve Trachsel with a double, and he wasn't sure. You got to watch him run.
I don't believe that Shannon, Stewart, and left field even thought there was an inkling of a possibility Trachsel would try for 2. Gets by the third baseman, down the left field line. And Trachsel makes the decision to go, and there he is, safe at second base.
How about the turn at first? It was very conservative.
Like crossing 5th Avenue at 52nd Street.
Joe McEwing, the batter, takes a strike, so it's 0-1 on Joe McEwing. McEwing's 2 for 2, 2 singles in his game. McEwing will be followed by Alfonso. Managers fall in love with Joe McEwing. He's an Eddie Stanky type player. There's the ground ball at third. Lopez over to Fulmer, scores 5-3. 2 down. So McEwing back in the Met dugout. He's now 2 for 3 tonight. Both singles coming setting the table rather than driving in the run. We showed a graphic earlier.
And now Edgardo Alfonso was the big run maker for the Mets last year and the year before, having a terrible time this year.
He's got that nasty bad back as he fouls it off. You had a bad back that ended your career.
We were talking about his back and what have you, and off the numbers he has put up since coming to the Mets, you'd have to think it is physical.
Well, his brother, Edgar,
put the kiss of death on him.
Boy, didn't he? He traveled with the team for about a week and a half, 2 weeks early in the year. Now, of course, he's managing those Brooklyn Cyclones who are on fire over there in Brooklyn. Fouls the ball off, beat the Yankees rookie league team yesterday.
Yeah, in spring training, he was predicting that Edgardo was going to have the greatest year ever, and all things are going to be unbelievably good for Edgardo, and it has not happened.
Yeah, so Edgar now in Brooklyn, managing the Brooklyn Cyclones, and Edgardo says, Edgar, we'll do it over the phone. And by the way, talk about Joe McEwing with those 2 singles with nobody on. And take a look at the updated numbers right there, Ralph.
Well, he's not done the job with runners in scoring position, 2 for 27. In all other situations, he's done extremely well. But the number of the game is RBIs.
Yeah, and they expect from Joe McEwing what he's given them. Get on base, score some runs, play some defense. As Fonzie takes outside. Of course, the reason the RBI men and the home run hitters make the big money, not that many of them.
Well, that's when it's pretty tough because the pitchers are trying to get you out with more emphasis on getting you out than with nobody on base.
Big Mike Piazza. He's an RBI man. So is Fonzie when he's healthy.
He has been, yes.
He gets jammed, but he muscles the ball into center field. Trachsel will come around to score, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
Alfonso, I would say, is breathing a sigh of relief as he's got the monkey off his back. Driving in the big run right there. And putting the Mets up by a score of 1-0. He gets jammed with the pitch. It's a fluke hit. But sometimes those types of hits get you started and get you on the way back. The pitch strike readout on the sequence: outside corner, inside corner. And this ball, the 4th pitch, coming toward the inside part of the plate.
And our friends at Oral Health, America's National Spit Tobacco Education Program, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. So base hit for Fonzie and an RBI. Mets have a 1-0 lead. Trachsel helping himself out with a double and scoring a run. And it might be the play of the game, that turn at first base. He wasn't going to turn his ankle. Swung at and missed by Agbayani. No balls and 2 strikes. You're taught when you're running the bases to take a very comfortable turn at first base, second base, and third base. Obviously, Steve Trachsel and the pitchers don't do it as often as the everyday players. No balls, 2 strikes. Ooh, nice block by Castillo. Threw the mask up in the air. Never figure out why we fire the mask off when the ball's in the dirt and it's in front of us and we can see it.
Now this ball, a 50-foot splitter right there, and a good block on the ball by Castillo. Keep the runner at first base.
You know what runs through your mind when you're a catcher? How can a major leaguer bounce a ball 3 feet in front of home plate? But you can't say it. You know what you say? Hang with him. You got too much on top of that ball.
Well, they probably say, keep it down. I'll take care of it.
Then you're thinking, how could he bounce it 4 feet in front of the plate? There goes Fonzie. Bad back and all the throw. Not in time. Castillo throwing as he was going to his knees.
And a big jump by Alfonso. He was halfway there before the ball was thrown to the plate. Look at this jump.
That's a big jump. Now he's throwing for, he was dropping down his knees. He was thinking about coming out of the chute, and he just said, I'm going to get it down.
Didn't have time.
Yeah. Way inside to Agbayani. Full count on Agbayani. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. So the big fella will bat. And he's on fire. We saw Roy Halladay looking in as Piazza makes his way to go to the plate. So Mike Piazza, we talked about earlier in the game, Ralph was talking about his stance. I think, Ralph, he had a great at-bat against the Yankees on a Saturday afternoon at Yankee Stadium. The ball got in on him. He waited, and it was vintage Piazza. First off, Piazza's been pulling off the ball because he's been on his heels during the first half of the season. He still has some pretty good numbers. But earlier in the year, you're gonna see him pull off the ball right here.
His weight goes back in his heels right there, and you can see he's fooled on the pitch that's outside and barely gets the bat in the ball.
And in yesterday's game, he one-handed home run. One of the reasons was he had his weight going in. He was on the balls of his feet. But first, we'll show you that hit I was talking about against the Yankees. Here's the ball that gets in on him, and he fights it off. And to me, Ralph, that's vintage Piazza. He waits as long as anybody in the game. And then yesterday hit that home run one-handed because he was on the balls of his feet. Tonight he's hit a couple balls to right field, like the one he hit against the Yankees.
Gets a curveball in the first pitch, takes the pitch right there. This is yesterday, and he one-hands this ball, but his weight was back. And he's able to get out there and extend and get the bat in the ball. He has to release the top hand to reach the pitch.
And because his weight was forward on the balls of his feet, he was able to use that power, even though he was fooled. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Base hit center field. Here comes Alfonso. And the Mets have a 2-0 lead, and the big fella is on fire.
Well, once again, Piazza one-hands the ball, gets the bat out on the pitch away from him. He does keep the top hand on, but barely, and was able to because he kept his weight back, as you could see right there, and gets a base hit to center field. Good job of hitting once again on the breaking ball.
And Ventura's the batter with runners on first and second, 2 men out. We're in the bottom of the 5th. You can see Mike Piazza fighting to stay in. He talked about how now he is working on not pulling off the ball. But, Ralph, isn't it so much easier up here talking about not pulling off the ball?
It certainly is. You can certainly analyze what's taking place, but when you're hitting, you can't make yourself do certain things at certain times. Concentration is really the biggest thing of all in hitting.
And his timing has been off. Now he's waiting longer on the pitch. Ventura did not check his swing. It's 1-1. Well, as strong as Piazza is, the longer he waits, the better off he is. That's one of the reasons he's a 300 hitter. Usually difficult to strike out because he waits so long on the ball.
That's the answer for all really great hitters. Ted Williams was as good as anyone in the world at staying back and swinging late. He would literally take the ball out of the catcher's glove and hit base hits.
And Piazza talks about, he tells young players with the Mets, you know, one guy comes to mind, Jay Payton, have confidence in your hands. Pretty much, I guess, the speed of your bat he's talking about.
Well, the hands have to work exceptionally fast when you wait a long time.
Ventura strikes out, but the Mets struck twice in the 5th inning. Fonzie with a clutch base hit, driving in Steve Trachsel. There it is. Piazza drove in a run. The Mets have a 2-0 lead, and we'll be back. Well, back here at Shea Stadium, a little excitement in the bottom of the 5th. And take a look at our Jeep game summary.
McEwen with 2 for 3, 2 singles. Trachsel 3 hits allowed in 5 innings. Alfonso with an RBI single in the 5th with 2 men out, and Piazza drives in the 2nd run with 2 men out behind the base hit.
Shannon Stewart, the batter, takes a ball. So it's 1-0 on Stewart, who's 0 for 2. Struck out twice in this game. They rave about Shannon Stewart. He's batting .317. Yet you hear some of the people who travel with the Blue Jays hoping that Jose Cruz Jr. is not the man traded, that Shannon Stewart would be the guy traded, because defensively he's become a liability and he can't throw.
Stewart, of course, with that Andres Galarraga approach to hitting, he's got the open stance and then closes up.
Foul out of play. Now we're going to go to that pitch track, Ralph, to show 2 strikeouts to Shannon Stewart.
But he struck out twice on fastballs. This is the tracks of the 2 times he struck out. Everything has been away, away, away. And he's not been able to catch up with the ball.
Well, according to pitch tracks, you better stay away. Look at that stance. Then he dives in. He takes up high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Andres Galarraga had a great deal of success when he went to that unorthodox stance. Of course, when you talk about the stance, Ralph, the stance is just a comfort area. It doesn't mean a whole lot.
No, it's the way you swing the bat. It counts. Good curveball and hitting the ground in the hole.
Ordonez got him! And that's not easy, because Stewart can fly. Ordonez yesterday with a couple nice plays, and again tonight.
Well, you can't question Ordonez when he has that glove. This is a real tough play. Batter Stewart gets out of the batter's box in a hurry. Curveball bounced to deep short, and a great throw.
They say that is the litmus test for shortstops. If you can't make that play, you can't play short. The long throw from the hole. Down low to Jose Cruz Jr., 1-0. When Ray Ordonez first came to the big leagues with the Mets, nobody played shortstop like Ordonez. Every night you hear wow defensively. It amazes me that he hasn't improved offensively. He's got quick feet, quick hands, he's got a strong arm. I'm talking about strong arms to swing a bat. All you have to do is make some adjustments with that bat. He should probably eliminate half the field. Just go up the middle to the right side.
Well, the thing about him, as opposed to the shortstop for the Cardinals, Ozzie Smith, is that Ozzie learned how to hit, but he was a switch hitter.
Right.
He had to learn how to hit from the left-hand side to take advantage of being closer to first base and hit the ball on the ground.
High fly ball, right field. McEwen makes the grab. 2 down. Folks, visit MSGstore.com, the online location for cool and collectible merchandise from the 2000 Subway Series, the Knicks, Rangers, and the hard-to-find Mets Monopoly Collector's Edition. Great gifts for all occasions, all at MSGstore.com. Boy, they got some great stuff. You can get right there online. MSG. They offer it all. He has it all. He's in Toronto. Outside ball 1. You think much has changed in Toronto since you went into that club?
I think I'll leave that alone.
I tell you, you certainly get my attention, Ralph. Did he check it? Yes, he did. So it's 2-0 on Mondesi. This will tell the story. What do you think?
I would say check.
2-0 on Raul Mondesi. Magnificent throwing arm, great speed. A lot of people with the Dodgers said he had been an outstanding running back in football. He was so quick and strong. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Now ball is short. Ordonez, different type of throw. He got him. So you got the throw, the short arm throw, but you want to see the litmus test right there. He got him also. And the Mets have the Blue Jays 2-0.
Hey, Mets fans, come out to Shea on Wednesday, July 18th for Jeep Owner Appreciation Day. Show up in your Jeep vehicle to park for free and receive a Mets car flag compliments of your tri-state Jeep dealer. Just drive your Jeep vehicle into Shea Stadium's main parking toll plaza at the intersection of Northern Boulevard and 126th Street. You'll also be treated to a free hot dog and soda. Jeep Owner Appreciation Day at Shea. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX during business hours, visit the Mets clubhouse shops, or log on to Mets.com.
Well, folks, it's time for the Coors Light Silver Bullet 6. Adam Fast from New York, New York is tonight's lucky fan. That means if the Mets hit a home run this inning, Adam wins dinner for two at Charlie Brown's in Old Tappan, New Jersey. To enter, send an email with your name, address, and daytime phone number to contest@thegarden.com. Be sure to type Coors and Mets in the subject field. 2-0 now on Todd Zeile. Outside, 3 balls and no strikes. And the 3-0 pitch. Zeile takes strike 1. That was a nice day here at Shea yesterday. The Mets honoring Negro League players. Line drive, base hit off the glove of Gonzalez at shortstop. So the Mets have a base runner with nobody out here in the 6th.
Mets get their 8th base hit in this ball game. A high 3-1 fastball, and Zeile gets enough of it to get it off the glove of Gonzalez and leads off with a base hit.
So Zeile's on first. Mookie Wilson playing behind him. Mookie now heading back to the... I liked it when the first base coach went out and stood next to me at first base because he could help me get the signs from the third base coach. Tsuyoshi Shinjo, the batter. They check Zeile first. Shinjo played in Brooklyn last night.
Rehab in Brooklyn, and
it's going to be the shortest trip from a minor league team to the major leagues in the history of baseball. Can you think of a shorter one?
Couldn't be. That'd be short.
Breaking ball inside to Shinjo. 1-0. Timo Perez sent to the minor leagues. Steve Phillips said they want to give him a chance to get some at-bats. You think maybe that they want to show Timo that when you're in the big leagues, when the batting practice is optional, you better show up?
It's certainly a wise thing to do if you're a player that's a borderline player.
2-0 now in Shinjo. Sometimes they do it for a reason. They'll send a player to the minor leagues to shake them up. And you know what? You want to get shaken up? Go to A-ball. Although I'll tell you right here, if you go to A-ball in Brooklyn or Staten Island, I mean, you're in a big league town.
In a great ballpark, brand new. Things are different than they used to be.
I played Dubuque, Iowa. We had the Dubuque meatpacking plant behind the left field fence, and black smoke would come out during the game. We lost the ball in left field. The guy got an inside the park home run and a ground ball. It's not going to happen in Brooklyn or Staten Island, not with those ballparks. 2-0 in Shinjo. The minor league baseball, some great facilities now. Rave about Keyspan Park in Brooklyn. 2-0 in Shinjo. Down low, 3-0. Where's the worst place you played in the minor leagues?
I was pretty lucky. I played in Albany in A-ball, which was then the third highest league in the minor leagues. Pretty good ballpark there. And then Toronto, I mean, can't beat that. I played for Toronto my a half year in 1943.
After that story I just heard, you can't beat Toronto.
Toronto was pretty good city.
We don't want to go back to that story.
But that was after I left
You get these guys in the truck right out the door heading for the blades. 3-1 on Shinjo. Well, that's a nasty slider, but a slider 3-1 to Shinjo. Runners on first and second now with nobody out. And today's quote is brought to you by Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance. Call 800-JOIN now, and you could save hundreds on auto insurance.
Well, Bobby V. You're getting hits with none on bases and making defensive plays. It looks good. That's all I can say. It's a small step.
Of course, I'm sure he remains cautiously optimistic. I mean, if Bobby started jumping around saying, yeah, we can catch the first-place team, they'd have him committed. But when you put that uniform on, Ralph, you got to believe you've got a shot at catching the boys in the penthouse. Ordonez bunts the ball to the right side. Halladay makes the tag. But Ordonez playing little baseball, moves the runners up for Steve Trachsel, so Ray could be insulted.
Well, the thing about that is he moved them up for the pitcher. He didn't look insulted. He got a sack out of him.
You get a sack fly strike, but deep down, and the team's the most important thing, there's no doubt about it. But deep down, this hurts you. But he gets the job done. And Ray's only going to help himself by doing the small things. Gene Mark called it little baseball, so the infield comes in. Let's see if this pays off. You got Steve Trachsel batting. He's got a double in this game. He scored a run. He's 1 for 2. Up the middle. Grabbed by the second baseman to the plate. Got him. So it's Toros makes the throw to Castillo. They get Zeile at the plate. And Zeile had no place to go. He tried to get around Castillo at the plate. He couldn't do it.
Well, the ball is not easy to handle by the second baseman. A good play there and a good throw from a difficult position. Zeile really didn't get down low on that slide. It's kind of a half slide.
And Castillo didn't block the play.
And Zeile is called out at home plate.
Let's see if
he's got a foot there.
See? Oh, see the foot moved, so there was a lot of the plate there for Zeile to go into, but Zeile decided to go around him and maybe come back. So there are 2 men down. Joe McEwing is the batter. We showed a graphic before. Joe McEwing more of a table setter than an RBI man, like most players. McEwing 2 for 3 in this game. He got 2 singles. He's certain. I mentioned Eddie Stanky before, Ralph. I mean, Stanky had a long career, but they said, and I never saw him play, but they said he did it all on blood and guts.
Well, he got hit by a lot of pitches on purpose. Sort of like Ron Hunt when he played for the Mets and for other teams.
Yeah.
And he was a good defensive ball player, but an infielder. You can do that with the infield play. When you're playing the outfield, I would say the most important thing is how many runs you drive in.
Well, Todd Zeile was thrown out at the plate. Tried to go around Castillo. At first, he saw Castillo's foot in front of the plate, but then it moved and gave Todd quite a bit of the plate, but it was too late. You can't make an adjustment that last moment. Fouled off. You've made up your mind coming down that line a lot further out than when Castillo's foot moved off the plate. His initial reaction was he saw Castillo. Watch this. You see Castillo's foot.
He sees the ball caught by the second baseman. He's trying to get to the plate before the throw. And it looked like Castillo had the plate blocked when he took off.
And then his foot moved. And Todd Zeile tried to slide and tag the plate. Didn't work out. There's a ball hit off the end of the bat. And they get McEwing at first base. So the Mets 3-2. And they fail to score. But as we go to the top of the 7th inning, Ralph will slide on out. Gary Thorne will come back on in.
And the 1-0. Fly ball, well hit. Center field. It's deep. Williams to the wall. Grand slam. Piazza.
You're watching Mets baseball on Fox Sports Net.
Well, back here at Shea Stadium on a beautiful night for a ball game. Nice crowd on hand. The second game of this 3-game series. We'll take a look at our Toyota in-game box score. You can see the Blue Jays struggling with the bats tonight against Steve Trachsel. It's 2-0 ball game. The Mets on top. And Lopez has a hit. Fulmer a hit. Trachsel has been stingy giving up hits. There's young Jack Williams right there. Look at him balance that cup on the top of his head. I've seen Gary Thorne do that many times.
Cirque du Soleil material right there.
Oh, he's outstanding. So, young man, every year we see him here at Shea Stadium. Jack Williams does a nice job running the camera up here in the broadcast booth. So we told you the story here at Shea Stadium. If you missed it, too bad. It's been a nice ball game.
Too bad.
How about this?
If you missed it, too bad.
Hey, how about if you missed it, you missed Ralph's story? What'd you think of Ralph's story? Come on.
I like Ralph's story, and as I said to him as he just walked out, I said, Ralph, I believed every word of it. I had no doubt in my mind.
Well, Ralph did tell us one thing is he was leaving.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's where it'll stay. Brad Fulmer is at the plate. Because we like Ralph, and we also enjoy working. Fulmer, the regular designated hitter, starting in right field, has had a single and is flied out. Trachsel with a breaking ball strike on the outside corner. 2-8-0 the Mets, 0-3-0 the Jays, and the Mets pitching continues to be outstanding.
Steve Trachsel is throwing the ball very well tonight.
Great control. And he's getting the ball where he wants it in the strike zone, getting ahead of hitters. 1-1 breaking ball. Even the outs have not been hard for the Jays tonight.
I got to believe when Steve Trachsel saw the Blue Jay lineup and saw Delgado was not the lineup he exhaled.
That's about 3 hits and a home run if Delgado's in the lineup against him. He may yet see him. He's available on the bench. In fact, he started out in the bullpen and has come on, sit on the bench now in case he is needed. Trachsel 1-2. We're in the 7th inning. That's trying to make it 3 in a row. They've had a 4-game win streak, their longest. Twice they've won 3 in a row on other occasions. And here in the second half, trying to keep that alive.
I know that managers have to rest players. It's got to be extremely difficult to rest a guy like Delgado, a guy that's really not a catcher, although he did break in as a catcher. And now he plays first base, he plays the outfield. Strong, good hitter. I know one thing. I'd leave him in the lineup until he begged out.
Down to first, good backhand. Zeile makes the flip. Nice play. Todd Zeile over to Trachsel, and Fulmer is retired, and there's one away here in the 7th inning. The other thing Trachsel's done, not let leadoff men on. A leadoff walk in the 5th inning. The only time the leadoff man's been on.
Ball hit hard right there in Zeile. Backhands the ball, and once you make that catch, an easy flip. They practiced that 9 million times in spring training. If you mess it up enough, they're going to practice it again during the season.
They have one of those in-season spring training sessions.
Which embarrasses the pitcher.
That's right. Here's Louis Lopez, and the ball is bounced at the plate.
And one thing Steve Trachsel has done tonight, he's worked quicker, throwing strikes, getting ahead. Gary Matthews Sr., who does the Blue Jays telecast, was telling me before the ball game, he used to call him sundown. Because when Steve started the game, they felt it would end at sundown.
100th pitch of the game coming up for Trachsel, and it's a strike with a breaking ball on the outside corner. And he goes 1-1 with it. Now keep in mind, Trachsel, in light of the record this year in the ERA, has not gone deep into games very often. He had a couple of outings. He went 7 against Montreal and 2 starts ago. 7 against Atlanta. That one hit the right field and deep. McEwing at the wall with room. And that is just a long out. Thursday night on Metro TV, the Liberty hit the road to battle their Eastern Conference rivals, the Cleveland Rockers. Tip-off 7 p.m. Thursday night only on Metro TV.
But Liberty's playing some good basketball.
You were a star in that sport yourself.
I like to say that again.
You? You.
That's the first time I've ever heard it.
Well, I lie sometimes.
I like to stay with it. I'll go with that storyline.
I know you will. Alex Gonzalez up. And takes the pitch for a strike. 2 down, nobody on. Oh, you played a lot of basketball.
Oh, I love basketball. You know, it's funny, when I signed to play baseball, I signed out of high school. I'm not saying that I could have played college basketball, but back then, once you signed, you couldn't play a college sport.
Now you go and play in the big leagues and play in college.
I think it's the best for the kid. That's important. That it gives him an opportunity to explore this other sport that he has that hunger for. I could never understand that rule when I was younger. You played professional baseball, so you couldn't play professional marbles?
Yeah. Well, it was all the players had so few rights back then, and everything was ownership involved, and just didn't want you going out doing anything you might get hurt at. Now we have these players who are in college playing one sport, playing professionally in another. You can't do it in the same sport, but you can play professional baseball and go back and play quarterback in college.
Yeah.
1-2 the count.
There are clauses in players' contracts that stop them from playing sports recreationally.
Yeah.
For example, they don't want you playing basketball.
Or skiing like Jim Lonborg. The 1-2 pitch. And a great off-speed breaking ball. And Trachsel, an impressive performance here tonight. He retires the side in order. That's 9 in a row set down by Trachsel. 7th inning stretch time. Everybody, take a look at our line score. 2-8-0 for the Mets. 0-3-0 for Toronto.
Take a look at our New York Mets in-game box score. It's been clean. It's been crisp. The Mets have 2 runs. McEwing 2 for 4. Big Mike Piazza, a couple blows in his game. Agbayani 1 for 2, a double. Fonzie 1 for 3, an RBI. So that's our Toyota in-game box score. Don't forget Steve Trachsel's got a double.
Esteban Loaiza has come on in relief of Ray Halladay. Jeff Fry has come on to play at third base. Double switch made by Buck Martinez. Halladay went 94 pitches in this game and charged with the 2 runs the Mets have up on the board. They were both earned on 6 hits. So in his comeback effort, just his second start, not a bad outing. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, but certainly not dominating. And the Mets got to him in the 5th inning with Alfonso and Piazza picking up the RBIs. Mets have left 8 base runners on. The only time he retired the side in order was in the 2nd. Those are the numbers on Esteban Loaiza. Working here to Edgardo Alfonzo in the bottom of the 7th inning. The 3rd. Fry just came on. Guns it over. And there's one away. Alfonso, an RBI single, is 1 for 4 in the game.
Well, if the Mets can keep Fonzie in a lineup and have Mike Piazza continue to swing that hot bat, they can make up some ground. If you're looking at the scoreboard, Tampa Bay with a 5-2 lead over the Braves.
Tampa Bay has suddenly come alive. Philadelphia, the Yankees are tied in the 8th. Oh, right through the wickets. Benny Agbayani's 2 for 3 and a walk. He's had a double and a single, and that one straight up the middle.
Well, if you're a pitcher, this is your worst nightmare. One of them. Oh! Right there, your heart stops. You're just happy it made no contact. So, Loaiza giving up a hard base hit to Agbayani. He's out of the ball game.
Mets trying to add some runs here, so Benny Agbayani will come out. Jay Payton will run for him. Put a little more speed on the base pass here. And Loaiza gets the fastball strike to Piazza.
We were talking about Mike Piazza now. More on the balls at his feet when he's at the plate, waiting better on the balls. Last time up drove in a run, you could see how he had to fight himself to stay in there, but he's been on fire lately, waiting a long time and then letting that bat fly.
He has been deadly against Loaiza. 6 for 13 with a home run. Lifetime off the 29-year-old right-handed reliever. So Piazza and McEwing continue to have great months of July. They have been the primary fixtures of this offense. One getting on and one getting the runs batted in. There's McEwing on twice today. 0-2 count on Piazza. Loaiza slowing it down, having some trouble with the signs here with Alberto Castillo, the catcher. Otherwise known as Mr. Clean. Castillo's always had that odd-colored equipment.
Yeah.
Off-white.
Well, his strong suit is his defense, so you might as well bring as much of the spotlight on your defense as you possibly can. Look at the shin guards, the chest protector, the mask.
Piazza to center field. Way up in the air. Cruz will put it away. He just missed. Peyton going to second, and he gets there. Mike Piazza, a towering 400-foot fly ball out. Just missed.
And a good move by Jay Payton to tag up. If Piazza gets all of it, he's going to drive you. The ball's going over the wall or close to the wall, which is 400 feet from home plate. He puts a good swing in this ball. Ball just beat him a little bit. But he's got that swing back. And you know what he's got back? What along with that swing is that lift. He lifts the ball. And that's something he wasn't doing when he was pulling off the ball. But when he has that real good rip, he hits the ball and he lifts.
He knew he just missed that, too. See his look when he came out of the batter's box. He knew he just missed.
And the key for him as they walk the tour is to wait. And I'm sure Mike would tell you that. Stay on the balls of his feet, not pull off the ball, but wait as long as he can. And we mentioned earlier, that's why he's a 300 hitter. He waits so long on the ball. And when he makes contact, which is consistently, he gets the ball to fall in because he's so strong.
The intentional pass will be given to Robin Ventura, putting runners on at first and second. Ventura will draw his 7th intentional pass of the year and his 57th walk, as Loaiza not wanting to go against the left-hander. And that will put runners on at first and second with 2 down for Todd Zeile. Buck Martinez getting the left-hander out of the batter's box, creating another forced play potentially in the field, and getting a right-hander to the plate. So Zeile will try and make the strategy backfire. He's picked up a base hit, got thrown out at the plate in the 6th inning with a drawn-in infield. 1 for 2 and a walk in the ball game for Todd, who's hitting .271. Zeile's 3 for 10 against Loaiza. He's got 2 on. And that's in for a strike on the inside corner. Esteban Loaiza, formerly a starter, and in fact had been a starter with this ball club, not successful at it. So they have moved him to the bullpen as they continue to juggle their staff trying to get the starters set. 0-1 delivery by Zeile towards the hole, and it's in for a base hit. Here comes Peyton to the plate. Throw by Stewart is not in time. And indeed, the strategy backfires.
So Buck Martinez opted to go after Zeile. We talk about how it insults a hitter when somebody has walked to get to you, and Todd Zeile put the ball in the hole, picking up a base hit. It was a good move by Martinez. It just backfired as Zeile delivered. Shannon Stewart cannot throw anybody out the plate, and because that ball wasn't that far away from the shortstop, Stewart making the throw, but you could see the runner scoring easily on that ball.
Towering fly ball, Sinjo to center field. This is way back. Again, Cruz over the shoulder makes a beautiful catch. The lighting is not good out there, and he had a long way to go. And Jose Cruz Jr. over the shoulder. Memories of World Series past.
Hologram, May 24.
Welcome back, everybody. Our fan of the game brought to you by B&H, New York's ultimate camera store, 9th Avenue and 34th Street for digital cameras. Go to B&H.
He raised his hand. He said, I want to be fan of the game, and he is the fan of the game. You want it, you got it.
He's been watching himself on the screen all night long.
That's funny.
We'll get a pinch hitter for Castillo now, as the need here is for some base runners. Steve Trachsel continues to go at it, and go at it effectively. Darren Fletcher, backup catcher, left-handed hitter, takes it outside for a ball.
Yeah, Fletcher last year had a career year offensively. He's struggling this year. He's considered an offensive catcher, so when you're considered an offensive catcher, you got to do some hammering, and you can't be inconsistent.
And Fletcher will pop that one up. Second base. Alfonso. He's got the beat on it, puts it away. So Fletcher retired in a hurry. And Trachsel with just 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So the new outfield behind him now. McEwing's gone from right to left. Peyton, who came on as a pinch runner, stays in at center. Sinjo, who started in center, has moved over to right. 1 down in the 8th. Trachsel had 3 complete games last season. And 1 shutout before he went to Toronto. He got those with Tampa Bay. He's not had a complete game this year, and this one has been most impressive. Cook warming up with the Mets up 3-0, out hitting the Jays 10-3. That's Torres. Takes the pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it's Torres certainly getting an opportunity to play in the big leagues. Getting an opportunity to show that not only can he play defense, but he can swing the bat.
This time the Mets will get him. Another ground ball out. And Alfonso with a play on it.
And the Blue Jays right now not sure what they want to do, whether they're going to be buying or they're going to be selling. So if they start selling, they're going to start selling veteran players. It gives young players an opportunity to produce and to show what they have in the major leagues. That's one of the things that has really changed the game. The team starts the season off, they feel we can win it. So they load up, they have big payroll. 3 months into the season, they change their mind, and a young kid in the minor leagues, wherever he is, might get an opportunity to play in the big leagues.
Start payroll dumping.
That's right.
You wonder what Colorado's going to do. I mean, not much has been made of the fact the Mets, of course, there's Raul Mondesi talking about big money contracts. Mike Hampton going from the Mets to Colorado. All the discussion about the great start that he had, and indeed he did. But it's not that way anymore. Colorado may have to start dumping again. Edgardo Alfonzo has the inning to himself. A pop out and a couple of 4-3s, and Trachsel gets it done. Another 1-2-3 inning.
The way he is throwing the ball.
That's 12 in a row. Steve Trachsel's retired. The last base runner was a leadoff walk in the 5th inning. 3-0.
Hey, Mets fans, come on out to Shea for Box Noculars Night on Friday, July 27th, when the Mets take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The first 35,000 adults 13 and over attending the 7:10 game will receive free Mets Box Noculars, courtesy of Dunkin' Donuts. Come see Dunkin' Donuts Rocket Man and Mr. Met at Shea. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX during business hours, visit the Mets clubhouse shops, or log on to www.mets.com.
Great performance, Steve Trachsel. 10 outs, retired with ground balls of one sort or the other. He has been very effective. Edgardo Alfonzo, an RBI, picked up in the 5th inning. Trachsel coming right back to protect the lead, getting a strikeout of Gonzalez. Piazza delivering. Like Piazza's been hot, an RBI in the 5th inning for him, and the Mets got a couple of runs.
Now you see Fonzie and Piazza, the backbone of the ball club, coming through in this ball game.
Raul Mondesi on Ray Ordonez.
You know, and watching those highlights right there, what stood out in my mind is the way Mike Piazza fought to stay in with that big blow in this game. And also, if you took a look at Fonzie swinging the bat, he stayed in there. How about this round of applause? And he deserves it. What a story this year for this guy. How about his emotions?
Steve Trachsel is going to stay in the game. We're in the 8th inning. 3-0 lead, working on a 3-hit shutout. And Bobby Valentine, Charlie Hopp talking with him between innings, and the decision made, let him go. He certainly deserves it. And certainly had a big hit. I mean, I think he had the hit of the game. Yeah. When he picked up that double in the 5th inning with 1 down. I mean, he ignites the inning, where the RBIs later to come by Alfonso and Piazza.
Big double off the bat of Steve Trachsel. It was interesting watching him go down to first base when he decided he was going to go for 2, the way he turned the corner at first base in a very different fashion
than most base runners.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Yes. 0-2 count, 1 down. Esteban Loaiza on in relief, and that one is fouled back. Last complete game with Tampa Bay against Seattle, June of last year. His last complete game shutout was against Boston in May of last year. He'll get a shot at both the complete game shutout in the 9th inning. pitched like a 2-10 pitcher. 0-2 delivery by Loaiza. And Trachsel down the line to the seats and out of play.
Well, Steve Trachsel picked up a double. We talked about it earlier in the ball game, and it was a big blow at the Coors Light play of the game. Trachsel pulling the ball right down the third baseline, just out of the reach of Luis Lopez. Shannon Stewart got over there and couldn't make the throw to second to get Trachsel.
And Trachsel towards the hole, cut off by Fry. Is retired. 2 down in the 8th inning. Now the Mets have got the Blue Jays in a series here in which their bats have gone quiet. And that takes nothing away from Steve Trachsel for keeping it that way. He'll go in and rest as McEwing will take a long time to get to the plate. Let him go in and sit for a minute.
You don't see that very often today, but that's a true leadoff man. The pitcher rounded out. He goes in the dugout. There are 2 outs. So Joe McEwing put some more pine tar on the bat. He said a few words to somebody in the dugout. He took his time. Now he goes to the plate. We'll see if he takes the pitch. The old days, they take a pitch, but the new days are better than the old days. Players today are much better.
Than when you played?
Absolutely.
Just checking.
Absolutely. Better than ever.
Wanted to be sure. Joe McEwing's hitting .326, and he does take the first pitch. Couple of hits tonight, 2 singles, 2 for 4. 14 runs batted in. The important thing for Joe is getting on and starting innings. Thought the wave had disappeared.
Haven't seen it here at Shea Stadium in a while.
That's the first time I've seen the wave this year. Fans started it on their own.
Well, you got to be ready for that.
Yeah. Late in the ball game, it's tougher to get up and do that. You know what I mean?
Well, boy, you could pull a muscle.
Could get hurt. Here's the 1-1. Eliza missed it outside. 2 ball, 1 strikeout.
They're going the other way with it.
And not very well.
No, some people have lost interest. Once is enough.
They're still applauding themselves. Loaiza 2-1. And McEwing towards the hole again. Fry again cuts it off. And will get the out. So a good job by Esteban Loaiza on in relief. Now, can Steve Trachsel get a complete game shutout? 9:30 Stadium's the place, 9th inning. Florida Marlins have won their ball game. They've now moved a game above 500. Shut out of Baltimore 4-0 in that one.
They'll be here for 2 games this week, Wednesday night and Thursday afternoon. So come on out, see those Marlins and the Mets. Mets playing some good baseball if they can hold on here.
That's a Thursday noon game. They might want to keep that in mind. Chris Carpenter and Al Leiter will wrap up this series tomorrow night. On Wednesday, Chuck Smith and Kevin Apier, and Ryan Dempster and Glendon Rush in the noontime game on Thursday. Shannon Stewart, 9th inning. The New York Mets this season, their team has recorded 8 shutouts. The only Rick Reed has pitched the only individual complete game shutout this season for New York. Blue Jays have been shut out 5 times. Trachsel's the starter, trying to finish it off. And a 1 ball, 1 strikeout to Shannon Stewart, who is 0 for 3. 9-game hit streak for him is on the line in this at bat.
We're talking about Shannon Stewart, the talent he has, and the Blue Jays a little bit down on him because of his defensive deficiency.
I saw in one of the throws he made, he does not have a strong arm.
No. Well, he threw the ball. He couldn't throw Trachsel out at second base. And the throw to the plate, there was a ball hit off the bat of Todd Zeile that got it to shallow left field. Shannon Stewart with great speed got to it, just couldn't throw the runner out at the plate.
2-1 delivery. Faces a breaking ball down and away, 2-2.
Of course, it's gotten to a point in baseball now where the coaches know the arm so well. If the guy has a good arm, they're holding him up. If he can't throw, they're running that guy from second base.
He has walked 1, struck out 5. And Stewart on a check swing fouls that one back. Mets starters continue a great run they're on. They've combined for a 2.39 coming into this game for the month, which is the second best in the majors to the A's. Obviously, Trachsel has lowered that number so far here tonight. The Oakland A's, the best pitching staff and best starters in this month of July. How about that?
Yeah, they got off to a real bad start this year also. Fighting their way back.
In a division where once you started losing, you were long gone. 19 games behind Seattle. 3-2 count to Stewart. Important out for Trachsel's effort for a complete game. And he didn't get it. Base hit on a 3-2, Sinjo. So Stewart's got a 10-game hit streak in Toronto. Try and mount something here in the 9th inning. Talked about the schedule for the Mets. Let's take a look at it. Brought to you by Delta.
And the Blue Jays will be back here tomorrow night to catch all the action on Fox Sports Net. Then the Marlins Wednesday night, and then, as Gary mentioned, 12 noon start on Thursday. Kiner's Corner follows that ball game. So catch the next 3 ball games on Fox Sports Net. Charlie Huff will be here. In fact, he's going out right now to get Steve Trachsel. And we'd like to remind you to suit up alongside your Mets heroes at the new long weekend lower price Mets Dream Week. For information, call 800-888-4376. Listen to this crowd. He deserves it.
Great effort. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Wireless from AT&T, your world close at hand. Now he will wait and watch and hope for his 3rd win of the season. 8+ innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts and a walk. Steve Trachsel and Armando's on.
Yeah, you can't say enough about the way Trachsel pitched tonight. And what he's going through this year, he literally got hammered early in the year. One night gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning against the Padres. Ended up back in the minor leagues. A lot of guys that said, you know what, I'm making some pretty good money. Why not just take it, relax, who cares what happens? But he fought his way back, and tonight he pitched an outstanding ball game when the Mets needed him to do so. And Armando Benitez on a relief. 49 strikeouts in 41 innings. That means the big fella has his good strikeout pitch going for him. And he'll take on Jose Cruz. So it'll be Benitez against Cruz with nobody out here in the 8th.
There's a light directly behind the flagpole in center field that's on, and it's shining right straight in. You see it right there?
Yes, you know that's been on for a while.
Jerry Crawford caught that, and they've got to get that shut off out there.
But that light's been on for a while now.
Yep.
And it's the first time they complained about it. Unless there's some, well, if they complain, you got to turn it off.
There we go.
He's relaxed. He got the message and he relaxed.
He's just waiting for the game to end to go to work on the field. All right. Toronto threatening here. They're down 3-0, being out hit 10-4. But they've got the leadoff man on at first base, Shannon Stewart. And Jose Cruz against Benitez. Way behind on the heater. Armando Benitez perfect in save opportunities and saves recorded. 20 for 20 this year. And he's in a save situation right here. Not going to hold the runner at first base. The left-handed hitter up there, so he'll take second. Not be challenged. Stewart goes down.
I think it's a good idea. If they don't hold you on, steal second base. You stay out of the force play.
And even the double play, which is a possibility if you don't go.
So you get the double play, you get the force play at second base. It's easy to get that force play if the shortstop has to go in a hole.
Cruz takes it away, 2-0. Benitez tied for 5th in saves in the National League. Rob Nen of the Giants with 28 leads it. Billy Wagner, Trevor Hoffman, and Armando Benitez all have 20 coming into today's play. And you saw the danger lurking in the on-deck circle in Raul Mondesi. Don't want to have him coming to the plate with a potential tying run. And they've got Fulmer, their cleanup batter.
Get Delgado in that dugout.
Yeah. Cruz laid off the pitch. And it's 3-1.
You might as well challenge this guy. If he hits a home run, you still have a 1-run lead.
Jose Cruz will take the walk here, switch hitter if he can get it. He hasn't had many of them, only 27 free passes. 3-1 count. Runner at second. And he walked him. Benitez's last appearance was on the 14th, a couple of days ago against Boston when he got his 20th save working an inning.
And you mentioned bringing the tying runner to plate. The last guy he wanted to play besides Delgado is Raul Mondesi.
So here's the middle of the order. Big challenge.
Yeah, he can hit the ball as far as anybody. He's got 17 home runs. And that's the bullet you got in your gun. You got to use it.
Carlos Delgado did not start the game. 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts against Armando Benitez. Raul Mondesi 2 on. Potential tying run at the plate. Mondesi takes it down low for a ball. You've got 3 big hitters now that Toronto can use. Mondesi, Fulmer, and then you can go to Delgado as a pinch hitter if you want him for Lopez. Brad Fulmer's their DH anyway, playing first in this game. Runners off first and second. 1-0 to Mondesi. 1-1. This is a strikeout team. Goes with all the power that they have, as you would figure. They'd have a number of hitters, 3 of them to be exact, in that top 10 in strikeouts in the National League, in the American League, rather. And Mondesi is one of those.
Usually his weakness is he'll chase bad ball. He didn't chase that one.
2-1 splitter that missed inside.
Dodgers used to say they were amazed when teams would throw him strikes.
Takes a ferocious cut.
Yeah.
One of those free swingers.
So is that guy right there, Carlos Delgado. Fulmer takes a big swing. Fulmer more of a spray hitter than Mondesi and Delgado.
7 pitches, 6 out of the strike zone, and a check swing on that one to get a strike. 2-2. Mondesi would like to have that one back.
That's very important right there. Chasing bad balls out of the strike zone, but boy, you're taking a chance right now. It's 2-2. Just trying to make a tough pitch on a good hitter.
Tied for 10th in strikeouts in the American League. Steve Trachsel hoping for another K right here. Two on, nobody out. And he got him. Benitez wins the battle with Mondesi.
Made a nasty pitch. Mondesi took a rip. Let's take a look at the sequence of pitches to Raul Mondesi. Ball out of the strike zone. Swings at the ball out of the strike zone. Out of the strike zone. Fouls off a pitch that might have been out of the strike zone. Then that's a nasty pitch right there. Was that a strike? Too close to take after you swing at a bad ball and foul off a bad ball. So good pitching by Benitez and got some help from Raul Mondesi.
2 on, 1 down. Here's Brad Fulmer. First baseman. DH, usually batting cleanup. 10 home runs, 53 RBIs. Benitez falls behind 1-0. Blue Jays threatening here, getting the leadoff single by Stewart. Cruz on with a walk. Delgado waiting on deck to pinch hit for Lopez. Pitch, home run cut right there by Brad Fulmer. It's just fastball hitter against fastball pitcher.
Okay.
Fulmer 1 for. Nope, take that back. I want to say 1 for 3, but he's not. Yes, he is. 1 for 3 off Benitez. Holding the runner close at second. And in the dirt, good stop by Piazza. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Benitez clearly knows these hitters, these big swingers, like to go after pitches out of the strike zone. So he's trying to get him to chase. He's throwing that splitter and fastball stuff like he did to Mondesi. Down, 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 trying to get him to bite.
After a while, you got to know what hitters will chase that bad ball and what hitters won't. I mentioned Fulmer more of a spray-type hitter, although batting .278, 10 home runs, 53 RBIs. Benitez with runners on first and second. Really, you have to challenge Fulmer because you get the big guy on deck.
2 ball, 1 strike count. And he chases high heat on that one. That's out of the strike zone.
Well, one of the reasons you see hitters chase bad balls against Benitez is you got to get your bat going. And once you get it going, it's tough to hold up. You go through with the swing, and that was a swing for Fulmer like, I know I'm swinging at this ball. I know it's on the strike zone. I know I'm not going to hit it, but I'm going to swing anyway.
He steps out. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Fans applauding for another strikeout.
Glove in hand. He's applauding.
Here's the 2-2. And he'll take it full. 3-2.
Well, you got a hitter at the plate who is really wired. He wants to swing that bat. He's paid to hit. Used as a DH most of the season. Could be overly aggressive. We saw him swing a bad ball already in this at bat. But you can't throw a bad ball and hope.
3-2. He's got to come to the strike zone now somewhere. Can't assume he's going to bite on a bad pitch. 2 on, 1 down. And Fulmer will foul it off.
Delgado out of the on-deck circle, taking a real good look at what's going on.
Keep in mind, he has never had to come off the bench here because he has started 234 consecutive games before tonight. So he's being asked to do something he hasn't seen for a while.
And I'm a big believer that pinch hitting is the most difficult thing in baseball. And it's a crapshoot. You send somebody up and pinch hit. And I have asked great hitters over the years how they like pinch hitting. Never like it. You're a different hitter, pinch hitting.
3-2, 1 away. Double play would take care of the whole thing. And he just got a piece of that fastball. Battle going on here. Stays at 3-2. They've become interested spectators at this point.
Well, it's a great battle. You get a hard thrower against a good major league hitter. A man who should be dominating with his stuff, Armando Benitez.
3-2 delivery again. And Fulmer towards the gap, left center field, going over McEwen. Runners have to stay. Fulmer is out number 2.
So it boils down to power against power. Benitez against Delgado. And the Blue Jays are able to use the big bullet in the gun. But a different approach for Delgado, as Gary Thorne mentioned. Now he's coming off the bench.
2 for 8 against Benitez. Carlos Delgado, who has had a bit of a struggle for him at the plate with that .254 average. He's a .282 hitter who hit .344 last year. Fuller upset. Battled hard. Didn't win it.
Yeah, it was a good battle against Armando Benitez. But it all boils down to power against power.
Delgado on for Lopez, the third baseman. 2 down, 9th inning. Mets trying to shut out the Jays, a combined effort. Trachsel and Benitez. Only 4 hits for Toronto. Runners at first and second. Delgado takes it away for a ball. You've got Alex Gonzalez, the shortstop, waiting on deck with 2 down. Mets trying to improve their interleague record this year to 1 above 500. 9-8 if they can win this one. 1-0 delivery. In the dirt. Piazza down to block it. 2-0. Carlos Delgado just turned 29 years old. Last year, he was third in batting average against right-handed pitchers. He just had a great year.
Gary, one of the most awesome home runs I've ever seen hit was hit by Delgado when the Mets were in Toronto. not last year, the time before in interleague play, he hit a ball that was about to bounce with a funky swing over the right field fence. I couldn't believe my eyes. Very impressive home run.
Very, very strong. 24 homers this year. And Benitez is behind 3-0. Does not want to give him that fat pitch that would tie this ball game up. He does have the bottom of the order. Gonzalez waiting on deck, towards the bottom anyway. 3-0 delivery. And he walked him on 4 straight to load the bases. There are 2 down.
And Gonzalez is the batter. So, you know what? You'd rather not walk the tying run, but take your shot with Gonzalez. Gonzalez, pretty good hitter, 251, 7 home runs, 49 RBIs. Benitez will take on the right-hander. This should benefit Benitez.
Gonzalez only 1 for 7 off Benitez. 3 on here. Shannon Stewart had a single. Cruz got a walk. And another walk to Delgado. Bases loaded, 9th inning. Mets have the 3-0 lead, 2 away. Gonzalez takes the strike.
But Benitez reared back, threw a bullet. As soon as it was going by home plate, he had his glove up to catch the ball back from Piazza.
He had no intention of giving Delgado anything close. He'd take his chances right here with Gonzalez.
Well, you know, excuse me, Gary, when you really think about it, maybe he doesn't have confidence in pitching to Delgado. Delgado representing the tying run, more confidence pitching against Gonzalez. You're taking a chance walking a tying run, but you just neutralize the power here.
1-1 delivery. Splitter, 1-2. Fans will be up. 2 down, 1-2 count.
I like the way Benitez is pitching to Gonzalez. He's throwing the ball and receiving the ball back from Piazza like this game's over. You got to get on the mound and pitch like that.
Gonzalez fouls it off to keep his at-bat alive. Toronto's never won a game here at Shea Stadium. They're 7-0. Mets are 10-3 overall against Toronto and 7-0 against them here at Shea. Buck Martinez's club bats have been real quiet. The Mets have had enough offense, and Trachsel, magnificent chance to win his 3rd game. 1-2 delivery. Not going to go easy. Watch for that splitter again here. He's had Gonzalez fooled on that pitch once in this at-bat. Again, the 1-2. Gonzalez to short. Ordonez, Alfonso, and the Mets have shut out the Jays. 3-0.
Trachsel pitched a whale of a ball game and needed some help. In the 9th inning, Armando Benitez came on and pitched a nice 9th inning. A couple runners reached base, and clearly he didn't want Delgado. So he put the tying run on first base, and he got Gonzalez to make the last out of the ball game. But that's the story. Trachsel pitched a whale of a game and a big hit in tonight's ball game.
He knew in order to preserve his place in this rotation in the second half, if the Mets are going to make a run at it, he had to start performing. Well, he put a stamp on it tonight. He's earned himself at least a couple more without being questioned about being in the rotation.
And a story of perseverance. I mean, he could easily have said, you know what, I'll wait till next year. But Trachsel went to the minor leagues, came back, and he's been throwing the ball well, and he looked really good tonight.
Armando Benitez is 21 for 21 in save opportunities this season, and the Mets starters continue to put up outstanding numbers here in the month of July with the 2nd best ERA among starters in the majors. And Steve Trachsel helped the cause here tonight. We will be back. The final here in Game 2 of this 3-game set. The Mets shutting out the Toronto Blue Jays 3-0.
And it is a happy Steve Trachsel that joins us on the postgame. We saw your reaction. It wasn't much of one when Armando recorded that last out. But what are you thinking when you go to the bench in the 9th inning and the ball's turned over to your closer? And I guess there's a lot of thoughts going through your head.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, all the years I've been playing, every closer makes a 9th inning exciting. So, you know, as long as he gets the final out, I don't care how it works out.
Well, no doubt about it. That's the most important thing. And for you tonight, the most important thing, of course, was your total performance. I mean, the ball was kept down. They pounded the ball many times into the ground. It was a very, very good outing for you.
Yeah, it got a lot better as it went on. I was kind of nervous going in because I hadn't thrown in so long, so I didn't know if I'd be too strong or if I'd be sharp or not. But the curveball got really good as the game went on. We kind of went to the changeup more than the split as well, and you know, got a lot of ground balls.
And we're also looking at the strikeout package, as we call it in the business, as you rung up 5 guys tonight. Now, talk about what you have to do, if anything, differently when you have such a layoff. You referred to the nervousness you have. Do you have to take a different